One of the things I really love about LA is there are so many places to eat. Blue Plate Oysterette is one of my favorite places, and I love going there with my sister Angela. We always try to have a sister day at least once a week. So I decided to keep the makeup fresh, pretty light for the most part, and peachy.
So I'm going to be outside for a bit, so I'm going to start out with Murad's Invisiblur. It does have this really weird gel consistency. It's kind of strange. This is SPF 30. Now I'm going to go into Too Faced Born This Way in Caramel. It's a medium to full coverage. And I love Makeup Forever's HD foundation, but I also wanted to try something else, and I'm really liking this. I'm not bringing the foundation up all the way under my eye because that's going to be concealer slash highlighter. It's a little beat up, but this is Kevyn Aucoin. I love it so much. NARS has creamy concealer. They have a color called Macadamia that I really want to try, but I don't think it's come out yet, or it's about to come out, so I haven't had a chance to try it. I apply this with my fingers because it's a pot. But sometimes I just use my fingers completely when I'm doing this. I need to wipe my hands. I'm a little fanatical when it comes to washing my hands when I'm doing makeup. Like, I can't not wash my hands. I usually wash my hands about 4 times. I love this color because there's so much yellow in this concealer. Sometimes I find concealers that are quite light and they seem like they might match and give me that brightness that I want. I find that they have gray casts underneath them. Then here, I love this cleft. I kind of have a slight cleft, but it's not like a super cleft. I mean, I kind of wish it were more prominent than it is. So since we're staying pretty light, I'm not going to do any kind of heavy contouring or anything like that. I am using my tried and true Terracotta. Don't laugh, it broke. It's just so sensitive. This did not happen because it dropped. This actually happened because instead of putting it in my carry-on, I accidentally packed it away. It's such a soft powder that it broke and crumbled, but it is a gorgeous powder. Now the trick with this, it's a great brush, angled, quite stiff. I got it from Bergdorf Goodman a long, long time ago. And I like to squish it a little to get that first line. Just a little, not a lot. Then I'll go in. And then I'll reverse it because this will get right under that bone. Don't worry if you go a little over in there because a lot of times I like to clean that up after I'm finished. So we're gonna go in here just a little tiny bit, not a lot. Just get here. Sometimes make sure you save this area though. I don't like to go into the highlight there. I like to actually, this is awkward looking. I like to save that. You really want that bone, leave that alone. Just get here in the temples. Go ahead here. If you have baby hairs here, this is a good time to actually go in and kind of like brush them in the direction that you'd like them to be in. You can move it around, but it's a good time to just like kind of do that situation. I don't like to go here because I don't want to bring my forehead down. So I don't want to contour the top. It's kind of like just bringing it in but letting it stay long. You don't really need to do that unless you have a long face. If you don't have a long face, there's really no need to go up in there. You can actually leave it and it'll kind of like open it up a little bit. Whew, so it's a bit hotter. So I didn't do too much because I want to keep this pretty fresh. So now I'm going to use NARS's Taj Mahal, which is in this nifty container because for the second time it broke and crumbled on me. It's really sensitive, as I said. I promise I just don't break all of my cosmetics, but it just kind of crumbled, and it happened to my sister too, but I think it's because it's so soft, like the consistency of it, and it is a magical, magical product. I love this blusher so much. Actually, you know what I'll do? Sometimes I just go straight with Taj Mahal on the apples here. I'm going to use Max Pinch Me, which I love, and just do a tiny bit on the apples. Just a little. Another trick, another shape that you can do to emphasize is this. And instead of just going here, you do this and get this little curve. You can actually give a little slight curvy contour and it helps you gradate to that. So you do here and it gets a little lighter there just because of the way you're doing it. And then you can bring it all down in here, but that's another day. We'll get into that. I've got tricks, darlings, tricks. Now, the Taj Mahal, I actually use the little lid because all you need is a teeny tiny bit of product and even shake that off. And that's enough for 2 cheeks. I go in here, kind of give it a little thing across, then give it a little thing across. Going across that cheekbone. Now I'm going to clean it up, suck in my cheek. If you use a brush, which I do sometimes, you can also sweep that. But you don't want your line to be too sharp. If the line is too sharp, it can be a little too drastic. Also with cheeks, sometimes people love to use contouring cheeks. It's a very striking look, but it's also a more mature look. If you want something that's like youthful and fresh, emphasize more of the cheeks than the contours, basically elevating everything instead of bringing things down, which can be, again, really striking and sexy. The apples, I would say, is more youthful and fresh and fun. You can also cheat it. So if you want to, you can actually just put the cheeks more so in there. So you're smiling, but you're really here. I guess you don't really have to smile for that. Yes, you do. Now that we've done the cheeks, I usually like to do my cheeks, even when it comes to blusher, I like to do it before I do any kind of setting powder because I feel it kind of sticks to the skin a little and it looks a little bit more like skin. Since we're gonna keep it pretty fresh, I'm going to use a tiny bit of concealer on my nose just for a slight contour. Makeup Forever. This is in 178 equals the new Y535. And this is their Makeup Forever Ultra HD concealing stick. Just a teeny bit. Just not, oops, I think I went over too, yeah. Not too much. This I'm going to blend with my fingers. A trick too, a little tip. So a lot of times when people do concealer, they'll figure out where their nose is and where that bone is, and they'll put it right on the sides. No. If you're contouring your nose, you want to go right on top of where the bone is. So if the bone is right here, go over it a little bit, not right alongside it, because what you'll do is you'll emphasize that area. The span between the two lines will look even greater than if you've done nothing at all. Because you have a little highlight here in the center and then you have two dark lines, if you follow the bone exactly, the effect is going to make it look wider than if you just left your nose alone. And usually I just use my pinky and I just go in here. I don't bring it up too far. I just do something very, very light. I just get a little brush. It might be clean, might have a little powder on it. And I just, now I'm gonna go in with my little concealer again, because the other step is making sure that you get the bone area and you bring it in. You've got to bring it in. This is a step that a lot of people forget or they just don't think about doing because that's just not their method, but it makes a very big difference. And what I do is I just bring it in here and then I sweep it up. This is something I like to do with my hands because I'm used to doing it this way, like since way before beauty blenders came out. Even when my makeup artist uses a sponge, I like to go in and do this part myself because I just know my bone structure and I know my face. I also have something that I have to check for right here. My glasses, I have to get them fixed. They kind of leave a mark right there on the side of my nose. Now I'm going to set everything with my HD pressed powder. I told you before that I really like to use the zero powder, but I'm almost out of it and I haven't gone to a boutique or ordered it online, so I figured I would just use this. I want to get it in my T-zone, absolutely. On the side of your nose, make sure you get in that area. I forgot to do this. Bring the jaw back, darling, bring the jaw back. Just a little bit, not a lot. Now I'm going to go ahead and just do a very slight sweep here because even though I'm going to use a highlighter, go ahead and mattify everything that you want to make matte and then go back in and highlight so you can bring the highlights exactly where you want it. It's a lot more control. You can leave it completely alone and not put any powder there at all, but I tend to get shiny, so for me it works best to go ahead and control that and then put the highlight in. So I'm still not sure if I'm going to do a wing liner or not. I'm still deciding, but in the meantime, let's get on with the highlighting of the eye. This is Hollywoodland by NARS. It's a little eye pencil. Technically, they're calling it a soft touch shadow pencil. And I love it. It's great for the middle of the eye. I usually bring it in here, even when I'm not wearing any shadow, like today. I like to use it here. Sometimes I even like to go all the way around. One of the things that's trending is emphasizing this little puff underneath your eye. Some people have it, some people don't. It's funny because my sister looks more Korean than I do, but she doesn't have a puff, and I do have a puff under my eye. And it used to get on my nerves, but now I've embraced the puff. I'm going to actually set that with this new highlighter that I got that I'm loving right now. My brush is freshly washed. I wash my brushes with Hypnose, including my beauty blender. I wash it with Hibiclens or Hibiclens after every use. That may be obsessive, I don't know. I don't wash my brushes as often as I should though, but that beauty blender, trust me, I'm like, oh no, you are getting in the bath. This is just a little, this is really just to get some powder on the lid because then it gets too slick. But I'm not really doing any color or anything like that at all. Oh, I should tell you what I'm using. NARS Mediterranean, and I'm just using a little dab of this here. For my complexion, it works to just bring it all the way up. It's not strange at all. I'm still going to kick it with the highlight. With the same brush, I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury's Filmstar Bronze and Glow, and I'm going to use a little of this lighter color just to set that center. Look at how pretty the packaging is. It's gorgeous. It's so Art Deco. Now that we're on highlighting, I'm going to use both colors. You can use just the single, but I'm going to just play and do a little of this. Get in this bone and sweep it. You can sweep it above the brow, but you can also sweep it right there in the brow line. And that gives you a nice glow. Also, I swept it kind of wide. I don't know if you could tell, but instead of like, let me see, instead of just going here in the C shape, because you can do that too, but remember how I was saying to make sure you leave this space, make sure you leave that bone right there. That's the bone that I want to just like pop a little bit. Again, a little bit of this, a little bit of that here. Sweep it wide, don't be afraid. This is a Laura Mercier fan brush that I'm trying. It's a little different from others because it's kind of separated at the very top so the product doesn't settle into it. And I wasn't so sure how I was going to love that because I kind of wanted something a little bit more dense at the top. But this is actually working out really well. And then sweep it in. There, now we have a little something something. Also, do the same mix and I will just, a little sweep here, a little sweep there. Just to open up that forehead and bring it down the center just a little. I do like to highlight a little of the chin, just a really quick sweep way at the bottom. My personal preference, I just like it to kind of shine. Now I also like to bring it into the Cupid's bow and the philtrum. The Cupid's bow can work really well with the brush, but when we get to the philtrum, you'll see that I like to do it by hand. So just a really quick, easy dusting here. Nothing too much. Reverse. Just a little. I do want it in here, but because it can be harder to control for me, I have a pretty pronounced philtrum, which I used to detest before I, realized that you shouldn't detest anything about your body because it's there to help you and it's a blessing if you're healthy. But before that, and look, now I'm like emphasizing it. So it's not too much, but it's just a little something something. And that's going to totally blend in with the makeup when you're all finished. Like by the time you're done getting dressed, it's going to all just melt together. Let's get to the brows because I think it's like I can't think past the brows situation right now. I'm going to use Hourglass in Dark Brunette. I love this because it has two sides. One is the actual brow pencil, which is angled, and then you have the brush. I also loved MAC's Spiked, but I just really like the brush and having that. So instead of grabbing an eyebrow brush and the eyebrow pencil, I've really been trying this out and I really like it so far. So we're gonna brush this up. I have a scar here, so no hair grows there, which is why doing the brows can be tricky. Another thing when you're doing brows, if you want a very striking look, you can emphasize the downward curve, like this way. If you want something a little more youthful, instead of the angle being like this, if you open it up, it'll open up your eye. Now sometimes that might mean that you always have to kind of accomplish that by drawing on top a bit more, and you may have to actually pluck a little bit beneath to get that look. It's kind of like that eye lift look or that brow lift look. When people get their brows lifted, it's like it opens up their face. You can cheat that by just, instead of having your brow go this way, plucking your brows so when you fill them in, you're really bringing this line in here. It's a very subtle thing, but it can be done if that's something that you want to do. I cheat it occasionally because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I have naturally archy brows, which is good, but for some reason the expressions on my face sometimes I feel like it looks like I'm going like this. So I've cheated it a couple of times, but then sometimes I feel like I want the brow shape that requires least filling in. And then I realized it doesn't really matter because look, I have to fill in this whole side or there will be no hair because of the scar. This side is significantly easier. So I love this product. This is Lancôme's CILS Booster. This is actually a sample size. I have another sample size from Sephora and it's completely unopened, so yay for me. I also love Hypnose Drama. I used to just stick with Hypnose and then the Hypnose Drama kind of grew on me. But what I like about the CILS Booster is it not only thickens, CILS Booster also keeps your mascara from running or being as runny because I don't use waterproof mascara because it's very drying. So I just go in here. I usually let this sit for about 30 seconds. Sometimes I'll go over. I don't put it above because I have the eyelash extensions on, so I don't need that. Although I may pump it up a little. Will I pump it up? No, I'm not going to pump it up. I'm going to leave it alone because I just got them done recently and it actually makes your lashes come out sooner. Not your actual lashes, but your extensions. And so it'll shorten the life of your extensions and we don't want to do that. I do that toward the end when they're starting to come out and I just need to boost it up. Anyhow, let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing me get my eyelash extensions done so you can see what it's about. I know some of you probably already know, but I had a few bad experiences in the past, so if you are interested, let me know and I will bribe my sister Angela to film for me. I've tried other mascaras. Sephora, Makeup Forever has a great one called Smoky Lash, which is really great, but it dries out really fast. Could have been that I actually had it for a while, but I think it did dry out a little faster than the Lancôme one. But it also was a little blacker and a little thicker, and I liked that. Helena Rubinstein also has a really great one. Lancôme has a great blue, like a vivid blue eyelash that I occasionally use. And people would always say, oh wow, your eyes look so bright, because blue, having blue next to your eye makes the whites of your eyes really bright. But I always come back to Lancôme's Hypnose. So I just did the bottom. I feel like I should do a little sweep. No, don't do it, Ameriie. Yes, do it. No, don't. Okay, just a little. See, it's important that you know your own face. Like you can see a makeup artist and they'll teach you all kinds of tricks, but you've got to know your own face. So when I do the eyelashes on this side, the mascara, I always also push them up a little bit because they need that extra lift. And when I come home later tonight, I'm just going to either use, well, I'm not going to use the Clinique on these lashes. I'm going to just use water and leave it there while I wash the rest of my face and then continue to pat and it'll come out. Easy breezy. Now we're going to do lipstick. So I'm going to do one of my signature colors. This is the Buxom I'm always telling you about, Undressed Lip Foundation. Gives you nice evening of the lip color before you place any kind of color on your lips. I'm going to use Makeup Forever's lipstick. This is 403 transparent, it's very light. Then I top it off with a lip gloss by AJ Crimson. He has new packaging now. This was one that he gave me a long time ago, but I hadn't opened it, so it was new but old. This is an amazing product. They have different color nudes, so pick the one that's either closest to your lip color and or the color that you think is going to also look good with the colors that you want to wear. Makeup Forever's transparent in 403, and I'm gonna dab. And a little trick I like to do, go over the curve. You know, you'll have a curve in your lip. You don't want to go above the line too much. Tap that out just a bit. It'll give you a little plumpness. I like to let that sit for a second, and then I go in with the gloss. I'm going to go in with the gloss. I put loose waves in my hair. I will do a hair tutorial too, so you know how I curl my hair. That's also coming down the line. I may or may not recurl these. Sometimes I like it to just hang loose, but it's been behind my ears, so I'm not really sure what I'll do with that. I'll see once I get dressed. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like it if you liked it. Don't forget to share, and please subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments below what other kind of tutorials you'd like to see, different kind of makeup looks, hair stuff. I know you've talked about wanting to see how I style my hair, so I definitely have a how I curl my hair, style my hair, etc. coming up with a bunch of tips that I've learned along the way. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see. I'm really excited. This is a lot of fun to film. And now I have to hurry because I'm starving, Angela's starving, and she doesn't know how late I am. So I will see you guys later. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to give it the thumbs up. Bye!